Hello, we're Team Kondortech. I am Kevin Fu, and this is Ignacio Osman. We have created a solution to protect the cultural heritage of our country, Peru, the historical center of Lima.
It is our responsibility as Peruvians to preserve our heritage and ensure that future generations are able to appreciate the beauty of the buildings. This is what gave major importance to us. But a lesson we learned is that it is our responsibility, not just as Peruvians, but as humans and members of our global community, to preserve the world for those who will come after us.
The historical center of Lima is a very important place for a Peruvian. Its houses include many landmark buildings, which having subsisted moments of history that changed the course of our country in different ways. We focused on preserving the Plaza Mayor in Lima, located within the historical center, as it is the place that holds such buildings, including the government palace, the cathedral, the Archbishop's Palace, and the Municipal Palace.
Not only was this place planned and overseen by Francisco Pizarro, the Spaniards who led their troops into the conquest of our country, but it is also the place where our independence was established. This place not only has great aesthetic value, but it is a source of pride and cultural value in the history of Peru for all of us.
After choosing the historical center of Lima as the location we would intend to protect, we had to recognize the problems that threatened it. A major problem, which is quite widespread in Peru, is that of earthquake damage. Lima is found at the convergence at the South American tectonic plate and the Nazca plate. As such, it is constantly stricken by a barrage of earthquake of significant magnitude.
However, many high-level attempts to stop this issue have already been taken by authorities, so we decided to tackle a problem with less being done about it, and with more room for us to make a difference. That problem is the destruction of landmarks and buildings by pigeon excrement. Although bird excretions cause unsightly visual damage to the buildings, the most crippling effects of this come from the composition of said excrement.
The excrement is acidic and can cause damage to the stone even long after it has been cleaned. However, most of the damage is caused by the fungi that exists within the excrement. Once this excrement is deposited on the stone, the fungi grow and extend their mycelium, which are like the roots, into the building, transporting with them a heavily corrosive acid. This increases the stone's porosity and makes them structurally weak. Therefore, we wanted to create a way to prevent the damage that the bird excrement causes to the historical center of Lima.
The government has taken some action to prevent the damage being caused by pigeons. However, most of this action is targeted towards stopping humans from encouraging damaging behavior from pigeons, and not how to deter pigeons from damaging the buildings. There are fines instituted to discourage people from feeding the pigeons, but this does nothing to stop pigeons from nesting around the Plaza Mayor, as they naturally would. Therefore, we decided to create an entirely new contingency plan.
This means we determined on the best way to deter birds from approaching the priceless historic buildings found in the historical center of Lima.
We researched the different bird deterrents that had already been implemented and chose the ones that could best be put in place without compromising the aesthetic component of the building or severely disrupting the people's activities. According to our research, one of the main techniques used to repel these pests is that of an eye pattern. This is the reason why many butterflies have eye patterns in their wings, also known as genetic adaptations of an organism.
The first part of our contingency plan consists of a robot holding a spherical component, decorated with the aforementioned eye pattern. When the robot's arms receive a signal through Bluetooth that birds are nearby, the balloon will spring up in an intimidating fashion. The rotating motion of the balloon and the eye patterns make the birds flee and worry. And now here the robot waits for 10 seconds so the birds can see the eye patterns that fall in the spherical sphere. And now it goes back to its original position.
One of the main aspects of our plan is the robot mechanism. As you can see, there's a prototype which consists of a bird flying by overhead of the ultrasonic sensors, which is consisted of a base which also supports the NXT. So when a bird overflies one of the two ultrasonic sensors, even though, regardless of the ultrasonic sensor number 1 testing the bird, ultrasonic sensor number 2 can still test it and the prototype will still work. So it consists of the following things. When a bird overflies one of the two ultrasonic sensors, these flaps will open, reflecting light. This will obviously scare any of the birds passing through, because light will be clearly reflected on them. At the same time that the flaps open, the sound of a buzzer will play, which will also scare the birds away. We have strategically designed this robot in order for it to activate visual cues once the bird sees it, which will cause the brain to think it's a predator and the bird has to escape. It is also supported by the audio, which is playing a predator. This building has two of each type of robots on top of them. The yellow and black, as you can see here, represents the flapping, the robot which opens the flap, and the red and black represents the balloon robot. And as you can see, each building has two of them on the roofs. This will successfully secure the perimeter. Okay, so the last part of our plan consists on arranging the flowers in the center of the plaza in the shape of the eye of the predator. So when the bird flies over, he's going to see the eye of a predator. Therefore, he's going to flee in fear.